Hey Trans Youth! This week's video is actually something a little bit of a how-to type thing. And actually this particular video, this Monday, is a link to multiple different other videos. So this week's topic is actually on the voice. How exactly do you develop it? How do you get it? And what kind of tips, what kind of things can help you get this? So we've been getting a lot of topics about development recently, about what you can do as a trans person to make yourself pass a little bit easier. And voice in and of itself is incredibly important as far as that goes. But before I do move right on into that topic, I just have one thing to say here. We are looking for a casting call, a lot of different people, because we as an organization have now come to the point where we are ready to hire. So the really fun thing about this, and I'll have a description of the job titles down here, is that you'll be able to not only have job positions on the camera, but also off the camera, because we're requiring a little bit of a background now that we're doing a lot more than just here on YouTube. So what does that mean? It means that we are now able to take applications for people who might be a little bit camera shy. In addition to that, we have 3 daily wildcard positions open. So if you're interested in any one of those positions, simply apply down here. Link is in the description, as well as all of the things that you need to do. Wildcard system is now up and going through its preliminary exercises, its testing. So we are looking for 3 people who would be willing to test the wildcard system in order to make sure that we at Trans Youth Channel can get you those 7 days every day, every week, because that survey that you guys answered last month said exactly that. You want more consistent videos, and we want to give that to you. So that wildcard system is going to allow us to help you, help us, help the community. Now, moving on to that voice and that wildcard system, this voice right here is not natural. This voice right here is actually something I worked on for months upon months. And I actually have a playlist at my personal channel. I'll link it down here. Now, it took months for me to do this, and I'll just briefly go over all of the steps that I went through. And if you want to learn more about it, it's down here. Step 1, I learned the methods. There are 2 primary methods to do this, and you don't have to be a music major to do so, although music does kind of help. Now, the first method is going from high to low. This means that you jump into your falsetto voice. Let's see if I can do this. So this is your falsetto voice. Sounds really weird. It's like Mickey Mouse, and honestly, it might be cracking my mic. Then, from your falsetto, you're able to move a little bit lower and lower and lower until you get to your perceived and desirable female voice. Now, this takes a lot of time, and by using the second method, which reverses that, going from low to high, you're able to fix that. You're able to bring those 2 together and find a happy medium. Now, when it comes to working with your voice, it's important to recognize that the reason it takes a long time is not because you're not getting it. It's because your voice, your boxes, can't do that. Your voice cords are vibrating at a natural frequency, and you're trying to limit them, not just to your massive cage here, if you're male, but also you're trying to limit this up here. The resonancy in your jaw needs to be right here. It's really important to recognize as you're touching it, as you're feeling where all of that is coming from. When you're in your male voice, you just want to touch your hand down here and you'll be at your chest. And this is the best male voice I can make. I think it might be kind of okay. And then when you're in your female voice, there shouldn't be much reverberation here. You can still kind of feel it, and if it's natural, then you will still feel it. But the majority of that reverberation that you felt down here in your male should be up here, and you can feel it. In addition, your Adam's apple should actually be up, and it's difficult to check. It's difficult to see on my neck specifically, but it should be up and it should be closer to here. So now that we've kind of gone over the 2 methods that you do it and kind of feeling over everything, the next thing you're going to need is you're going to need to understand exactly what it means to restrict your vocal cords and exactly what it means to have tone, pitch, frequency. So when I'm talking about tone and pitch and frequency, these are all music terms, but they're also scientific terms. So feel free to look them up, a lot of different resources, and you'll be able to identify what exactly your cords do and what the rest of your body has to do with it. Your chest acts as a resonant chamber, your throat as a resonant chamber, and your mouth as a resonant chamber. And believe it or not, so do your nasals. When you clog your nose, your voice changes. And that's really important to understand where that tone, where that frequency is going. Now with all of this, all of these tools, all of these tones, it's gonna take a long time for you to get it. But you can kind of speed it up if you are, one, healthy for yourself, and two, use tools. Now the number one tool, in my opinion, is your phone. Your phone, because it allows for a recorder. On your way to work, while you're commuting, or anything like that, you can spend the 10 minutes that you are commuting simply talking to yourself in your phone with multiple different times. Just spend a minute and then listen to it, and spend a minute and listen to it. And then you'll be conscious about all of the voices that are going on internally, how they change externally, and what exactly you need to do to your tone, your frequency, and your pitch. Because that phone in and of itself is completely objective. And when you hear it back, it'll sound very different than what you heard in your head when you were saying things. Next, water. A lot of water. This is going to dry out your vibrating portions of your cord that haven't been vibrated. There will be a buildup of mucus, and it will get hoarse. It'll hurt. So make sure that you have that water, and maybe gargle a little bit of salt water if you wear it out. In addition, you want to look at things that could be harming your voice, such as dairy or honey or milk or anything that might hurt this portion for the time that you're planning to speak. You don't want to speak too much. Don't stress your voice. That's a bad thing. If you work yourself for so long and so hard that you're not able to speak, you're not able to talk, that means that you can't practice for 3 or 4 weeks at a time, which means you don't improve. So nurse it. If it feels hoarse, if it feels bad, stop. And lastly, listen to girls. Listen to other girls, because you'll find that it's not so much the pitch and the tone and the frequency of their voice. It's not so much how high they speak that makes them sound like a girl. It's their words. They speak differently. Men speak in a very coordinated one word after another type of tone. You say one thing at a time very coherently, like this. And the reason for that is because the brain in and of itself functions in that way. A man speaks like that because he is thinking of each word at a time. Now, a woman who was going to have a lot of s and slurs and songs and and things like that for each of their voice is because they think in groups. They think in connections. When they want to say something, they will say, "So I was going to the grocery store and then I came across this friend of mine and we wanted to talk for a while and we did." There's a lot of breaks there, but the words are coming out in coupled groups. And because they're coming out in coupled groups, it sounds a lot more rhythmic. It sounds like they're singing when they talk in a sort of way. So that is also something to recognize. The pattern in which you speak can change people's perception of your gender. Mind blown. And with that, I want to thank you all for looking at this short synopsis of what you can do when you're doing sound. And honestly, the best thing you can do is keep practicing, because as you practice, your cords will get more used to this. I work at a call center all day and I sound like a girl the whole time. You just have to get used to it. And even if you feel like all of these steps are overwhelming, they won't be if you keep practicing. Because even if you're doing it wrong, your vocal cords are still going to find it more natural as you continue. So just keep stressing it in the right ways, but stress it to a healthy limit. I want to thank you all for watching this video, and if you do have any other questions, any other tips, each and every single step has been an explicit video on my personal channel if you want to jump down there, links in the bar. And also, don't forget, while you're looking at those descriptions, to apply for Trans Youth Channel and send those questions to either transyouthchannel@gmail.com, or you can also post using the link on our Tumblr site, also in the description. Thanks, guys. Bye.